Hello and welcome to our Family Travel Tips series, where we share our top tips for the biggest challenges that you experience around family travel. Now, we took a poll alongside our sponsor, Allianz Travel, to find out what those biggest challenges were. And surprisingly, well, not really, the one that came in at number 2 was, how do you balance school with travel? Well, I have a lot of opinions and a lot of experience on this topic. I was a teacher for 15 years, I've been a global traveller for 20 years, and a homeschooling mum for the last 5. So yes, I do think travel is the most educational and transformative experience your children can ever have. So I don't believe that we should stop them from having those experiences because of this little thing called school. Now, I know that there are rules and regulations in place and you are most concerned about not letting your children fall behind. And I absolutely agree with you that this should be your number one concern. But there is no reason why you can't make it work. And here today, I want to give you a few of my top tips to help you. Tip number 1 is super important. You must find out the rules about this for your school district, your state, and even your country. Because schools are getting a little bit more concerned now about parents taking their kids out to travel. And there are some pretty strict rules in place in some areas. I have even heard of some parents being arrested for taking their kids out of school to travel. I certainly don't want you to end up in jail. That is not the best thing for your children. So be aware of what the rules are before you make any decision to take your kids out of school to travel. Now, tip number 2 is to understand your child's learning ability and level. If your child is struggling at school, it may not be a great idea to take them out of school for extended periods of time, unless you think the family travel experience will give them a much needed rest, greater brain clarity, and a break from any stresses they may be experiencing. If they are a fast learner, you may be able to take them out and be confident in knowing that they'll quickly catch up when they return. The last thing you want to do is create stress and pressure for your child. So consider whether to take them out of school to travel very carefully, including how long you take them out for. An extra day here or there shouldn't hurt them too much. So tip number 3, some totally get the value of travel and others will just see the pain it's going to cause for them. Not to mention the challenge that comes with taking your kids out of school and the funding that may be impacted for the school as a result. Yes, schools lose funding for children having absences from school. So you do want to be upfront and clear with them about what your intentions are, why you are traveling and taking your kids out of school, and what benefits are there going to be for the child in doing that. Be sure to outline for them how you intend to help them stay on top of the schoolwork they will be missing, how you plan to make the travel educational, and of course how you're going to help your child catch up once you return. Perhaps you can have your child create and present a report about the destination you traveled in and make it an educational experience for the entire class when they return. The key is to showcase how beneficial that travel experience is going to be for your child and your family, and how you can make life easier for the classroom teacher. Now, tip number 4 is to make the travel experience educational. Now, travel pretty much is a learning experience of itself, but use this as an opportunity to incorporate educational experiences like trips to museums, live history reenactments, science museums, local culture and history, anything that you can to help your child learn a little bit more about the world they live in. Let's say your child is learning about the Revolutionary War in school. Well, why not use that as an opportunity to visit either Boston or the greater Williamsburg area so they can be there in the real experience, learning it firsthand. Imagine the report on that they can write and share with the class, and imagine how stoked the classroom teacher will be to know that you pretty much took care of that unit of work in just a couple of days. So tip number 5 is to take the children's work with you that they'll be missing out on. Now, I know this is the last thing you want to do on your family travel adventure, but it will make life easier for everyone when you do return to school. Now, as a previous teacher, I can tell you that it is a nightmare when kids miss a lot of days of school. Teachers really do have very unrealistic curriculum expectations put upon them. It is very difficult to achieve all of those even when all the kids are in school every single day. So it is very difficult for your child's teacher to help them catch up on the work that they missed. So be sure to ask your child's teacher what work they will be missing and do your best to cover it. Now, don't expect your child's teacher to go madly running around pulling all that work together for you. We all know that teachers don't plan that far in advance. Oops, probably shouldn't share that secret with you. But that's too much pressure for the child's teacher. Really, just find out what it is that they're learning in math and do your best to cover it, and make sure they are reading every day, and journal writing is always a winner. So tip number 6 is to tack on extra days to school breaks and weekend travel. Now, I know traveling during school break is not the best idea cost-wise, but it may be a way to balance the whole travel school thing. The school breaks will be the best time to tack on a couple of extra weeks in for your family vacation, maybe one before the school break and 1 week after the school break. Now, from my experience as a teacher, there isn't a great deal of learning that happens during the weeks as they are warming up or winding down from school, especially at the end of and the beginning of the year. Similarly, if there is a long weekend, it may be a good idea to tack on an extra day or 2 at the beginning or the end of that long weekend. Now, a way around it in the US is to have your child attend a year-round school. Now, for our Australian viewers, that's pretty much how our schools do it at home, 4 terms and breaks in between those. This means that they're going to be off school when children in traditional schools aren't. So it will kind of be the off season, which means fewer crowds and cheaper costs. Now, don't forget to check out our previous video on how to make travel more affordable for your family for some extra tips on that. So tip number 7 is to travel when they are younger. So the nature of curriculum, studies and tests means that the demands of school become more intense the older that your children get. So you may have less opportunities to take them out for long periods of time because they could possibly fall far behind. And remember, we don't want to stress our children out in that way. For the younger years, they are learning a lot less and taking a lot longer to learn certain concepts. So you could easily take them out and take care of those concepts and get it done in a couple of days just with that one-on-one with your child. That means they're not going to fall too far behind and you should be able to quickly catch them up so they return to the classroom at the exact same level as the rest of the kids. So my final tip is about homeschooling or world schooling or road schooling. There are so many different ways to explain it. And that's obviously one of the best ways to balance school and travel, because then you take control of your child's learning and you're not tied down to a traditional school, traditional learning and traditional terms and hours. While we did juggle school for 18 months with our eldest child and we still managed to make that balance happen using the tips that I've given you, for most of my children's schooling life, they have been enrolled in Makepeace Academy and I have been their teacher and their principal. Yes, that really is the name of our registered school, but I'm sorry, we are at maximum capacity right now. Now, I have endless tips that I can offer you in regards to homeschooling, but I'm going to save that for another video because, as I said, it is quite endless. You can click in the description below to read a lot of blog posts I have on my site. If you feel that is a path you wish to take, I can help you and I can encourage you, and I can tell you that although challenging at times, it is a wonderful experience, and I don't believe my children have suffered in any way. In fact, I believe it has helped them completely thrive, and I have loved the experience. Travel is a wonderful way for your children to not only learn about the world around them, but to also learn more about themselves, what they're capable of, what their strengths are, what their interests are, and how they learn and interact with the world. For me, I don't believe there is a better education your child can have. Travel helps them to stay connected to their creative side, their imagination, their ability to solve problems and make decisions, all of which are absolutely vital abilities to not only survive but thrive in the world. So if they have ample opportunities to continue to practice those skills, they will excel in school and in life. So I hope you have found some of these tips super helpful for how to balance school and travel. It is very, very tricky. But I believe there are ways that you can make it work. Please let me know in the comments below which of the tips you are going to act on first of all. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And a big thank you to our sponsor, Allianz Travel, who is helping us to bring these family travel tips to you. And like us, they want you to travel more, travel happy, and create better memories with those that you love the most.